Hello everyone, nice to be here. It's Craig Leppan. Thanks to Sean for a great conference. It's been well prepared and a long time coming. So great to be here. What are we talking about? So DroneScan, I'm from DroneScan. It struck me that our little startup was inspired by one of my electronic engineering colleagues, Jasper, who's I think is a version of the CSIR. He decided on technology, built the technology, and yeah, as a commercial unit, I like to think of myself as the guy taking it to the customer. That's what I do. But yeah, this DroneScan was born out of my partner. So that's another slide. Check where we are. Was born out of the problem that my partner Jasper saw in warehouse inventory, and it's very much an indoor scenario. So I'll talk through those points. But DroneScan basically targets indoor scanning of warehouse inventory. So is that a problem, you ask? Well, to the layman, you'd expect that when you put a pallet in a particular location, maybe it stays there and you can find it again. Well, in the reality of a 60,000 pallet warehouse, unfortunately, it doesn't happen. So this is a pain point for every customer, from Nestle to anyone else running a large center. And I mentioned Nestle because they're our first customer that have taken us on this journey, have bought the product and are rolling it out as a showcase to what drones can do from an agility perspective. So yeah, I mean, a WMS is a sort of acronym in our world, a warehouse system. But the reality is, in modern industry and supply chain, these very large warehouses put stuff in racks and positions, and they constantly require expensive equipment, forklifts, cherry pickers, equipment to keep going and validating where the stuff is. So it's kind of a bit of a broken process in what is otherwise a very digital world. And DroneScan was born out of basically solving this problem. So I'm going to talk through some of the challenges we always get asked about in a drone and an industry perspective. And the one thing we always get asked, well, why don't you use RFID? Well, let me just break that shell. So RFID is a great sort of, for me, undelivered technology. It's still not prevalent in most warehousing. Most warehousing are still pretty comfortable with paper barcoding, and that is still what you find in most large centers on products, because traditionally it was too expensive, but RFID still has complexity. So yes, RFID is some scenarios for drone scanning, and we have seen those projects, but it's very much in a solution space today. So we have an RFID reader we put onto our payload, which is on an M100, which we use indoors. But it's by no means a quick or easy solution. It's still very much in a project phase. So I'll let the readers digest that offline. So these are what I would call our competitors. And I think it's interesting for the audience because one of the questions we get asked all the time is, can you do this autonomously? Can we just set your drones loose in our warehouse and they'll scan the product and recharge and come back? And the immediate answer is no. And there are some what I would regard as market competitors, and those are two of the most high profile, I would say, from a pen, both American-based labs and companies that are certainly backing a world in which only autonomous drones make sense from a customer. There's a lot of high complexity and cost in addition for actual autonomous navigation. We use something not often used in the M100, which is called guidance. Now, those familiar with drones will know that collision avoidance and obstacle avoidance is one thing. Complete autonomy in an indoor environment with no GPS is quite something else. So these are the themes that we face in DroneScan, where customers expect full autonomy. And the reality is we still position the value of an operator, flying the drone, scanning and intervening with the system. Where's my clicker? So yeah, that's the autonomy aspect of it. And then this is the big showstopper. So great, let's say you've got an autonomous drone. Let's say it can fly beautifully by itself and navigate through your aisles in your warehouse. Well, it can do that for about 10 minutes. So that's the big play. And anyone in drones knows that this is where the buck stops, right? Battery life. So super. Once you've added LiDARs and scanners to your M100, and once you've removed one of the batteries, you're down to 10 minutes. So currently, it's an interesting scenario for us in the drone industry, where we've developed really a package, a scanning package for drones. We're not a drone company. We provide a scanning package that goes onto a drone, but this is the big showstopper. And those, again, following the industry will know that some of the promises for mission life is fuel cells. So fuel cells are kind of, let me just check if it's there. No, it's not. So there is a section of fuel cells in another deck, and some of our competitors are really backing fuel cells. That's something that can fly potentially for hours rather than minutes. So today, in our technology, we supply a case of 18 batteries. We fly productively for 10 minutes. We can do 100 scans in 10 minutes. That is something that today is taking hours with forklifts. People are typically using a minute or two to scan a barcode in a very high pallet. We can do that in 10 seconds. So again, these are the challenges of the evolution of the industry. We certainly hope that in the end of 2018, we'll see advances in battery life, we'll see advances in LiDARs, we'll see advances in autonomy. Until then, I like to think we're treating this bottom up. So we're saying we go into a warehouse, we use an operator, he flies a drone. And unlike many of the challenges that the audience will face outdoors, we believe we're a lot less regulated. We've proved we can fly indoors in warehouses. There's no licensing. We train an operator, they can fly. So that's probably an interesting scenario for the room as well. So these are guys, if you Google them, and if anyone watched the old TED Talks of Vijay Kumar, these are guys who are working with the M100, which I see is prevalent outside, so I don't need to labor that. And these are some of the leading minds in sort of the robotics and what drones can do autonomously. And they're a current partner to us. So we're working actively with them to see how can we combine their IP and their investment in indoor drones with our scanning technology. So hopefully two partnerships will come together. It still comes at a price and at a mission time. So latest report from these guys, 7 minutes for mission time indoors. So again, there's some challenges to be solved. Mainly in battery life. So the technology to fly indoors is there. I mean, basically these guys, if you look at that top left, whether it's clear or not, I'm not sure, but that's actually an indoor map of racking of a warehouse space. So, this is the IP from a long period of academics. They've spun out Exxon, and they are certainly hoping to put forward a package that can safely navigate indoor spaces, be it a mine, a warehouse, a building, whatever it is. And so we certainly hope to align our technology with them. Interesting group that we're talking to and working with. Okay, so I always say bring us to the last. So this is us, a bit more about what we do. This is some extracts from quite an old CNN article from back 2 years, which just illustrates how long we've been at it, which is not that long in the scheme of things. So some of the themes on screen are yes, a drawback is that today we go into warehousing and we fly the drone. And we believe that actually today an operator adds massive value in that exercise. He can see our screen, he can see interventions, he can scan the barcodes, and in many environments, the warehouse environment is not perfectly laid out such that a robotic drone would know that on the bottom left corner of every pallet is a sticker. It's far from that. It's quite varied. So operators actually add huge value to our current product in this environment. But that's what. So again, in 2016, we were saying and hoping that autonomous drones could be available in a year. Well, we're still kind of waiting, and we know there's great autonomy and leaps forward in sensors, but again, there's a combination of both technology and battery life that we're still waiting for. So just to restate, what do we do as a business? We target that business problem of inventory count. That device there is inherently unsafe. Our primary customer, Nestle, one of their big things is risk. And putting people up in those machines is inherently unsafe. So they see drones and drone scan as one way to tackle that problem. A man on the ground with a drone that can be faster and quicker is effectively our business story that we're targeting. So that was a Nestle warehouse, actually an espresso warehouse in Switzerland from a few years ago. And really what we're doing is we're targeting the time taken to get up there on a forklift with an operator, often two operators, someone driving the forklift, someone up there on a man cage, scanning with a hand. We effectively have a scanning package that's been built to go onto a drone, the M100, flown safely. As I said, this little package, guidance, which is an extra add-on to a very commercial offering. So we know that our customers can find the M100 online, they can buy it, and we basically plug into that, is really what we're doing. And it's certainly, it's nice to see the M200 outside. At one point, we had hoped that would be our next payload. We haven't seen too many packages besides this developer drone, that can do what we need. We've talked about the Mavic and other consumer drones, but we actually have to plug into the electronics, the software, and the SDKs of these things. And so far, we've only found that the M100 developer drone gives us that platform. So, we're always evaluating drone platforms, looking for other options. particularly with indoor capabilities. But to date, we're still quite plugged into this platform and this scenario. And yeah, part of our challenge, and the drone audience will appreciate that, is that introducing a drone into an environment where previously it was a forklift is a huge change for the people, for the skills. So that is one thing we face. And one thing we're also doing as a business is we're offering interim programs where our package goes onto a forklift. So we're actually working with what you might call the enemy, being the forklift. We're providing a package that you can put on a forklift and do the scanning, but it is part of a change. And those in the industry will know that getting people's heads around quadcopters and drones and UAVs is quite a thing. So it's the same for us. Even though there's less regulations, it's still a big mindset on disciplines, on safety and changes. So that's part of what we face in our customer environment. So very quickly, our profile, how we see ourselves, it's very much an indoor warehouse, so we don't tackle anything outdoors. Thank you. We actively get inquiries from partners in drone businesses, so many operators that see, wow, here's an opportunity which is less regulated, we can operate indoors. So we're very open to partnering with drone operators, as a service. So we don't intend to run this as a business. We have a product that we supply. It's an accessory to a drone. It needs drone operators. It needs to train customers. And yeah, we really focused on the asset scanning and integration back into ERP systems. And yeah, those are our current sort of customer base. We're doing interesting work with Nestlé. That's our sort of flagship customer. We have a global contract with them, including working with the local team here across the way in Longmeadow. LF Logistics is a Hong Kong-based business that bought the first payload from us more than a year ago. DHL and WCS is a UK partner. So very quickly to end, that's what we do on the left. If you take it all away, off the drone, we have a payload that, as you can see on the right, bolts onto the M100. We have something that's built in our own environment. We have our own circuit board. We have our own laser-printed components and scanners. And we have a software tablet that really integrates with the warehouse system and brings back data in real time from that drone in flight. And we have a server on the back end that does a lot of cool stuff around inventory. So yeah, that's what we do. And to close, I'll say thanks, and I'll save some time for the next speaker. That's my details, and happy to chat afterwards as we find each other.